The news that took all of us kind of by surprise. Bill Belichick is the head coach for the North Carolina Tar Heels football program. He's making a foray into college football. Now, the way I want to premise this is, how do we define success for Bill? Now, Peter, you've got one view.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to ask you, what do you think is going to be a determination of success for Bill Belichick at the University of North Carolina? Because it's a large job. They only had a 6-6 record. They didn't do too well within their conference this year, so they've got a bit of catching up to do, right? But take it away.
So for me, it's the highest, it's the holy ground. I think Bill won't take if he didn't think he's gonna have an opportunity to develop the team to the point where they can win a national championship. And that, to me, yes, it's such a high bar for Bill Belichick. But then, when you are, regardless, the greatest coach in the history of the sport, arguably, and you've orchestrated top defenses, and all of those things, because I have reason to believe with his experience, he can turn North Carolina into a force. Now, granted, I don't think he's going to do it overnight. It might take 2-3 years for him to be able to do that. But I do believe Belichick having the ability to do that health wise, pending his health as he ages over the years. But apart from that, I was quite surprised that he took this gig though, because we all expect him to be back in the NFL. But I think there's a different type of challenge for him to be able to win a European a different type of challenge for him to be able to win a national championship. I mean, because then he can join a special group of coaches that have won Super Bowls and national championships, like Jimmy Johnson, formerly of Miami Hurricanes and the Dallas Cowboys, which will further enhances Bill's legacy. Not that his legacy is in doubt, but it will further enhance it. So I'm all for it. I think he'll do good, but it will take some time before he establishes them as a force.
Yeah, so I think ultimately looking at where they're at, like on that league table, with the record that they've had in the last few years, they're kind of like in the bottom half. I think right off the bat, success for him would be moving them into the top half. And when you think of the ACC, you want to be thinking about Clemson, Miami, North Carolina. He needs to basically put his team at the top end of that. And I think maybe in the next 2 years, if he can compete for an ACC championship and get like a playoff appearance with an expanded selection, that's something he can work towards. It is really hard to win a national championship in college football. So much of it is dependent on recruiting. And the thing is, the landscape has changed. If he was doing this back in 2015, 2012, you could really lean on your cachet and who you are. But right now, with NIL and the way things are, like, I know there's a lot of people that you're basically going to be like, okay, do you want to get coached by Bill Belichick, or do you just want to get this 5 million guaranteed over the next 4 years? Bill Belichick's great, but there's a lot of kids that'll be like, you know what? I'm going to go to Tennessee. I'm going to go to LSU. I'm going to go to Miami, because we all know Clemson don't pay players because, Dabo Sweeney. I was hoping they'd lose a lot this year, but they've done very well. But all I'm saying is the landscape has changed. College football is the recruitment trail. And even when you're playing in the season, you're still doing your recruitment visits. And that's not something I think he's going to have to do, but it's going to be a lot. It's going to be a lot, because I know he wants to be in the stadium, in the facilities. He wants to coach ultimately, but you've got to recruit. And these recruits, the parents, they want to see Bill Belichick walk in for dinner.
Okay,
and he's going to have to do that 10 times a week in the season.
If you look at North Carolina, right?
Mm-hmm.
Since 1998, right, we're talking 26 years, they have been ranked twice in the end of the season.
Mm-hmm.
2 times. So if they get to a playoff position, that is success.
Yep.
Short term.
Wait, I'm talking 3-4 years.
In
It's
three,
not
4
going to be
years, yeah,
quick.
it's true. Even
I agree a
Dion
lot.
isn't in a Pac-12 champion. Well, he's not in the Pac-12 anymore, but he's not in their
They're in
conference.
they're in the ACC, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So, like, I'm not a massive college football buff like some of the guys out there, but you look at it takes time to turn our program around, and we've seen this, right? Particularly, like, you've seen this with Coach Prime, right? It's taking time to turn around the Buffaloes. It's not just immediate, because even if you have like skill players on the outside, the trenches then need work. Now, I'm not massively clued up in terms of like the Tar Heels, in terms of like the roster construction and that and the like, but if you look at like all these years that they've been playing, okay, they had a decent 22 season when they went 9-5, and they were the first in their that part of the conference.
Mm-hmm.
But now they're going, like, especially with the college football playoff being opened up, and with effectively, if you win your conference, you're going to get a playoff berth, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's what they need to aim for. They need to aim for to challenge with Clemson and the like, to actually then you're shown as a serious program rather than kind of being also ran in the college game, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you so Will, do you think them making the playoffs is realistic within the next 2 years? Or do you think it's going to take a little bit longer?
It's probably going to take that. You basically have to get your recruits that you want to get into the program into the program. You've then got to develop them, whether or not they choose to redshirt or not. That's going to take 2 years before they become the players that you brought them on to be. But in the meantime, like, you just have to win early. You know, if they start off and they don't win any games, they I don't know, they go like 3-9, 3-8, 2-8. It's basically going to be like, yeah, this isn't very good. But then you've got to turn it around in a hurry. And I think that's what he's going to struggle with, because Bill Belichick is more about inserting a culture and a way of working. And that takes time.
And the thing is that also there's one thing he's going to have to, the coaching college players is a completely different thing to coaching adults in the NFL. Some of these guys are kids, right? Mm-hmm. It's not, the techniques that worked in the NFL are not going to work in the college game. So he's going to also have to build these kids up. And whether or not Bill's got that personality, or he's going to have to lean on the coaches to do that.
I think
on having his team.
One thing I'll say is, if you're like a young DB, like, it's either Bill Belichick or Deion Sanders, like, you're learning from the best. Both of them will get you right and ready. So he's not going to have any issues recruiting the secondary.
Yeah.
He's going to hit every single time on that.
But the offensive side of the ball?
Offensive side, QBs, you know, there's that cachet there, but the players now are younger and younger. And you know how, like, it's not Gen Z, but who was after Gen Z? Like, they've got really short-term memory, so they might not even remember who Bill Belichick is. They might need to be reminded.
Everybody, but yes.
Everyone will know. But all I'm saying is that he's got to lean on that cachet. I think it's going to be a bit of a struggle for him to understand the idea of going on that recruitment trail. Like, he's got to do that along with the team he's got. But we're talking like in the middle of a season, you've got a game on Friday night, you've got a game on Saturday night. Thursday, you're flying halfway across the country.
So do you know who's going to be? Do you know who's going to be who's the first hire?
Who?
Freddie Kitchens is staying on, but to be part of the backroom staff.
Oh, okay. That's
All
good.
right.
NFL pedigree there, but yeah.
So he's currently the interim head coach. So there's that little bit of continuity with next year as well. So,
Mm.
we're going to see, right? Ultimately, next season, I don't think next season's going to be the judge. It's going to be, it'll be
it's
the
gonna be
year
this-
after. The year after, we'll
Mhm.
start to see, okay, is there actually an actual difference? Because next year's a betting in year, right? Nothing happens immediately,
And,
especially.
The recruitment thing that Will mentioned, I don't think it's gonna be a big thing for Bill. We all know what Bill does, circumvent the rules. In a public car, we gave you a 1.5 million scholarship, but when you go home, there was an empty bag, with 2 million sitting there. No, Bill knows how to play this. You guys think he doesn't know how to play this game? And UNC, they have a very good booster. They have very good,
Yeah, they've got
they're
North
one of those
Carolina.
schools that have got money.
Yeah, they've got money. They've
So
got money.
it's going to be it's
It's
definitely
It's not so much whether he can do it or not. It's because we all know he likes to coach and be at the facility, be on the field. Is he going to be able to take? Like I said, you've got a game on Friday. Wednesday, you're going to the West Coast to meet two kids and their families. You've got to spend lunch and dinner with both. Then you've got to fly back. Does he want to do that, or is he going to be locked in? If he wants to be successful,
Okay, so
that college is the recruitment trail, and it's all year round. It never
here's the
ends.
thing. Yeah, I know it's all year round, right? But I think with the NIL, the college recruiting game has changed, bro. Now it's
Yeah.
about how much can you offer in addition to
and
impressing
also
the kid.
whether they're going to get kids through the transfer portal as well. It's not just people coming straight out.
Yeah, the transfer portal as well with the NIL. You're right, with the NIL as well. Because recently there was a quarterback that was committed to go to, I think, LSU or something, and then Michigan
LSU,
flipped him.
yeah. Michigan.
What happened?
Yeah, that was crazy.
Michigan gave him. I think LSU was going to give him 1.5. Michigan came in with 2 million, and then he got to meet Tom Brady.
Yep.
Next day he flipped.
You got to meet those alumni. The alumni there. If Tom Brady goes, man, go play for Michigan.
Now they don't have that. Obviously, the Tar Heels don't have like the cachet in terms of former players like some of those
They've
teams
got
do.
They do.
They've got you.
They have a
Do
Hall
they?
of Famer on the defensive side of the ball.
But offensive weapons.
On both sides, on the defense side, they've got Julian Peppers.
Yeah. So they do have one.
Lawrence Taylor,
Yep.
Mitch Trubisky.
Yeah, they have two. Lawrence Taylor too. Yeah.
Lawrence Taylor.
Yeah, right.
Mario Williams. I mean, defensively, they can definitely get a few
Defensively,
guys.
yes,
they have a lot of
but
legends.
offensively, Mitch is not exactly good.
Here's how it works.
You see, and that's probably why Bill went there, actually.
Yeah.
Bill's from a defensive background, so he knows I could get a very strong top defensive team, and I need an offense that can run the football and be dominant on running the football.
Yeah, because this is how this stuff works. You're going over to Tommy's house. Tommy's dad's a big football fan. He knows Lawrence Taylor. What's that, Tommy? Bill Belichick's coming over. Okay, that's really cool. Oh, he's got a guest with him as well. Lawrence Taylor's coming for lunch. What are you going to tell you? What are you going to tell your son? I don't care how much money they're paying you. That's Lawrence Taylor. You're going to North Carolina. I have Lawrence Taylor and Bill Belichick in our house for lunch. I'm not going to look my childhood hero in the eyes and say, yeah, we're not going to go. We are going. That's peer pressure.
But the only thing I'm going to say is age now.
Yep.
These, like, some of these kids' dads are going to be in their early 40s.
Yeah, true. But they'll know who Lawrence Taylor is.
They'll know that. But the thing is, we're getting to the point where the age gap is it might not work in that way. But it's going to be really interesting to see how they're going to do. We're just going to watch from the sidelines and see. Please drop a comment below as to what you think is the success for Bill Belichick. Do they need to get an Addy, or do they just need to make the playoffs, or is there something else that you think is going to be it. Please drop it down, and we'll catch everybody on the next one.